Hi, welcome to Ekate's Crossing as we continue with Chapter 3 of The Secret of Shambhala. Okay, the first card we're going to look at is the Four of Swords. So Four of Swords to me is that sense of mentally taking a break from everything that's going on. So really sitting in silence, sitting still, taking care of your mind at this time. Very important here in this process. Let's have a look and see what else we're going to do here. Okay, next card we're looking at here is the connection. Okay, and I get a sense of not just connecting with other people, but connecting with your higher self. Okay, connecting with the energy, the emotional connections you've got within yourself, within your higher self. I think is very important here. That connection is so important. So you got the sense of being in silence, being still, allowing yourself that sense of creating a stable mind. Okay, allowing yourself to looking for opportunities. It's not about opportunities just being offered to you. I think it's about looking for the opportunities that are being offered to you, being aware of the opportunities, taking a very sort of well-being approach to to where you are and what's going on. I think that's super important here for the opportunities to arise. It's a sense of just being very aware mentally of that connection, being very aware emotionally of that connection, being able to sort of really have those moments of creating a stable environment, put it that way. So let's have a look and see what sacred geometry card we've got for today. Let's have a look and see what sacred geometry card we've got today. Okay, together we fly. That's interesting because I get that sort of yin and yang energy that we have within ourselves. Again, I get that connection. That connection is so important with the Two of Cups here, and here we have this togetherness. So let's have a look and see what the message actually is. It's about growth and freedom. Okay, growth and freedom. Together we fly with growth and freedom. Okay. Embedded within this card is a beautiful geometry that was created by the crop circle makers in Great Britain in 2005. It is reminiscent of ancient stone glyphs and suggests a code that, if carefully calibrated, may unlock potential and accelerated growth. So take a moment, just take a breath for a second. Take a breath and have a look at this imagery. Let's have a look at this. The magical couple holds hands as they take wing and soar above a lush green tropical environment. Growth is all around them, embracing and nourishing their shared vision of expansive freedom within sacred union. By joining together in this freedom flight, they amplify their individual potentials and grow beyond the bounds of conventional relationship to a place of resonance with all of creation. Two hawks act as guides in flight and far-sighted awareness. The dragonfly reminds them not to get caught up in an illusion. This card asks you to expand your vision of personal power. Envision yourself unlocking your own capacity for growth, then reaching beyond yourself to touch the ones you love. It further asks you to allow all of your relationships to flourish and grow in their own manner, and to celebrate the potential for mutual growth and shared freedom. What a beautiful message. I love that. Okay, so let's continue with Chapter 3 of The Secret of Shambhala. Let's take a nice deep breath. Let's think about this message that we've received today with the cards. as we listened to the book. I woke up suddenly and looked out the window. The sun was well up in the sky. No dream. I put on my shoes and walked into the other room. Han and Yin was sitting at the table talking. "How did you sleep?" Han asked. "Okay," I said, slumping down on one of the chairs, "but I can't remember dreaming." "That's because you don't have enough energy," he said, half distracted. He was staring intensely at my body again. I realized he was focused on the way I was sitting. "What are you looking at?" I asked. "Is this the way you wake up in the morning?" Han inquired. I stood up. "What's wrong?" "After sleep, one must wake up one's body and begin to accept the energy before one does anything." He was standing with his legs far apart, with his hands on his hips. As I watched, he slid his feet together and lifted up his arms. His body rose up in one motion until he was standing on his tiptoes with his palms pressed together directly over his head. Let's take a minute to do that together. Let's take a minute to stand with your legs far apart and with your hands on your hips. Now, slide your feet together and lift your arms up. Okay? And as you rise, for your arms above your head, directly over your head, make sure you're standing on your tiptoes with your palms pressed together above your head. Feel that just for a minute. And breathe it and bring your arms back down to your sides and bring your body down and open your legs up. I blinked. There was something unusual about the way his body moved, and I couldn't focus on it exactly. He seemed to float upward rather than use his muscles. When I could focus again, he was beaming a broad smile. Just as quickly, his body moved from there into a graceful walk towards me. I blinked again. "Most people wake up slowly," Han said, "and slouch around and get themselves going with a cup of coffee or tea. They go to a job in which they continue to slouch around or use just one particular set of muscles. Patterns set in, and as I said, blocks develop in the way energy flows through our bodies. You must make sure your body is open everywhere in order to receive all the energy that is available. You can do this by moving your every muscle every morning from your center." He pointed to a place just below his navel. "If you concentrate on moving from this area, then your muscles will be free to operate at their highest level of coordination. It is the central principle of all the martial arts and dance disciplines. You can even invent your own movements." With this comment, he launched into a multitude of movements I have never seen before. It appeared to be something like the shifts of weight and the twirling that one sees in Tai Chi. He was definitely performing an expansion of these classical movements. "Your body," he added, "will know how to move in order to help loosen your individual blocks." He stood on one leg and leaned over and swung his arm as if he were pitching a softball underhand. Only his hand almost touched the floor as he made the movement. Then he spun around in place on the opposite leg. I never saw his weight shift, and again he seemed to be floating. I shook my head and tried to focus, but he had stopped in place, as if a photographer had frozen his movements in a snapshot, which appeared impossible. Just as suddenly he was walking towards me again. "How do you do this?" I asked. He said, "I begin slowly," and remembered the basic principle. If you move from your center and expect the energy to flow into you, you will move in a lighter and lighter manner. Of course, to perfect this, you must be able to open up to all the divine energy that is available within. He stopped and looked at me. "How well do you remember your mystical opening?" I thought again about Peru and my experience on the mountaintop. "Fairly well, I think." "This is good," he said. "Let's go outside." Yin smiled as he got up, and we followed Han out into a small garden. and up some steps into an area of sparse brown grass and large jagged boulders. The rocks had attractive streaks of reds and browns running through them. For 10 minutes, Han led me through some of the movements I'd seen earlier, then offered me a place to sit on the ground. Taking a seat to my right, Yin sat down behind us. The morning sun bathed the mountains in the distance in a warm yellow light. I was struck by their beauty. Take a minute, pause the video for a second. I want you to go outside and just for a few minutes, move very gently, Tai Chi, starting with that, with your legs apart, sliding them together, putting your arms up above your head, standing on your tiptoes with your palms pressed together. Breathe and then let them go. Move your arms up, your legs apart, and relax. And then move whatever way you want. Just for a few minutes, just move your arms. Move your body. Stretch. Move in a swirly, soft movement. Very Tai Chi, Qigong type movements. True yoga. Have a look at different videos and have a look at some of the movements. Then come back. Okay. So you're back. The legends say, Han began, that opening up to a higher energy state is an ability that all humans will eventually acquire. It will begin as a general knowledge that such an awareness is possible. Then we will move to an understanding of all the factors involved in cultivating and maintaining higher levels of energy. He paused and looked at me. You already know the basic procedure, but your senses must be expanded. The legends say that first you calm yourself and look out on your surroundings. Most of us seldom look closely at the things around us. It's just stuff that takes a back seat to whatever is on our minds to get done. But we must remember that everything in the universe is alive with spiritual energy and is a part of God. We must intentionally ask to connect with the divine inside us. As you know, the measure as to whether we are connecting with this energy is our sense of beauty. Always ask this question: how beautiful does everything look? No matter how it appears at first, we can always see more beauty in it if we try. The degree of beauty we can see measures how much energy we are receiving within us. Han went on to have me spend some time really looking at everything around me. Why don't you pause the video for a minute and have a look at everything around you for a moment. Truly have a look for a second. And come back when you're ready. Once we begin to establish our connection, he said, and experience the divine energy within, everything begins to have more presence in our perception. Things stand out and we notice their unique shape and colour. When this perception occurs, we can breathe in even more energy. You see, in reality, the energy doesn't come so much from the things around us. Although we can absorb energy directly from some plants and sacred sites, sacred energy comes from our connection to the divine inside us. Everything around us, both natural and man-made, flowers, rocks, grass, mountains, art, is already majestically beautiful and present beyond anything most humans can perceive. All we do when we open up to the divine is raise our energy, vibration, and thus our perceptual ability, so we can view the world the way it already is. Do you understand? Humans already live in a world of immense beauty and colour and form. Heaven itself is right here. We just haven't opened up to enough inner energy to see it. I listened with fascination. This was clearer now than ever before. Focus on the beauty, Han instructed, and begin to breathe in the energy within you. I took a deep breath. Now, look for increases in the beauty as you breathe, Han instructed. I gazed out again at the rocks and the mountains, and to my amazement I noticed that the tallest of the ridges in the distance was Mount Everest. For some reason I hadn't recognized its shape before. Yes, look at Everest, Han said. As I gazed out at the mountain, I noticed that the snow-rippled ridges on its face seemed to make little steps up towards the crown-shaped peak. The sight jolted my perception outward, and the world's tallest mountain instantly seemed closer, somehow part of me, as if I might be able to reach out and touch it. Keep breathing, Han said. Your vibration and ability to perceive will increase even more. Everything will become shiny, as though illuminated from within. I took another breath, and I began to feel lighter, and my back straightened with little effort. Unbelievable, I felt exactly as I had during the mountain experience in Peru. Han was nodding. Your ability to perceive beauty is the primary measure that divine energy is coming into you, but there are other measures as well. You will feel lighter, Han continued. The energy will rise up through you and lift you up, as you said, like a string pulling you up from the top of your head, and you will feel a greater wisdom about who you are and what you are doing. You will receive intuitions and dreams about what is next on your life path. He paused and looked at my body. I was now sitting up effortlessly. Now we come to the most important part, he said. You must learn to sustain this energy, to keep it flowing into you. You must use the power of your expectations here, the power of your prayer energy. Here was this word again, expectation. I'd never heard it in this context, used in this context before. How do I do that? I asked, feeling confused. My body dropping in energy, the forms and colours around me fading. Han's eyes got large and he burst into laughter. He tried several times to stop, but finally rolled on the ground in uncontrollable mirth. He regained his composure several times, but began laughing again every time he looked at me. I even heard Yin snickering in the background. Finally, Han managed to take some breaths and calm down. I'm very sorry, he said. It's just that your expression was so funny. You really don't believe you have the power at all, do you? It's not that, I protested. I just don't know what you meant by expectation. Han was still smiling. You do think you carry around certain expectations about life, don't you? You expect the sun to rise. You expect your blood to circulate. Of course. Well, I'm only asking that you try to become conscious of those expectations. It is the only way to maintain and expand the higher level of energy that you just experienced. You must learn to expect that level of energy in your life, and you must do so very deliberately and consciously. This is the only way to complete the first prayer extension. Would you like to try again? I smiled back at him, and we spent several minutes breathing and building up the energy. When I was seeing the higher level of beauty I'd experienced before, I nodded at him. Now, he said, you must expect this energy that is filling you to keep filling you and to flow out of you in every direction. Visualize this happening. I tried to hold on to my energy level as I asked, this outflow, how do I know this is really happening? You will be able to feel it. Just visualize it for now. I took another breath and visualized the energy coming into me and flowing out in every direction into the world. Take another breath and visualize the energy coming into you and flowing out in every direction into the world. I still don't know whether this is really happening, I said. Han looked directly at me, appearing slightly impatient. You know the energy is flowing out of you because the energy is maintained. The colours and shapes stay high, and you feel it as it fills you, then overflows outward. How does it feel? I asked. He looked at me in incredulity. You know the answer to that? I gazed out at the mountains again, visualizing the energy flow going out of me towards them. They remained beautiful and began to be immensely attractive as well. Then a rush of deep emotion filled me, and I remembered what I'd experienced in Peru. Han was nodding. Of course, I said. The measure of whether the energy is flowing out is the feeling of energy. Han smiled broadly. Yes, it is, love. That becomes a background emotion that stays with you as long as your prayer energy is going out into the world. You must stay in a state of love. This seems awfully idealistic for ordinary human beings, I said. Han chuckled. I'm not telling you how to be an ordinary human being. I'm telling you how to be at the edge of evolution. I'm telling you how to be a hero. Just remember that you must expect divine energy to come into you at a higher level and to flow out of you like a cup running over. When you get disconnected, remember this feeling of love. Try to consciously rekindle the state. His eyes twinkled again. Your expectation is the key to whether you can maintain this experience. You must visualize it happening, believe that it will be there for you in all situations. This expectation must be cultivated and consciously affirmed every day. I nodded. Now, he said, do you understand all the procedures I have told you about? Before I could answer, he said, the key is how you wake up in the morning. That is why I asked you to sleep, so that I could see how you wake up. You must do so with discipline. Wake your body up to the inflow of energy in the manner that I showed you. Move from your center. Feel the energy immediately. Expect it immediately. Eat only the foods that are still alive. And after a while, inner divine energy will be easier to breathe into your being. Take the time to fill up with the energy every day and wake up with movement. Remember the measures? Visualize that this energy is coming into you and feel it as if flows out into the world. Do this and you will have completed the first extension. You'll be able not to just experience energy occasionally, but to cultivate it and maintain it at a higher level. He bowed low and without saying anything else walked back towards the house. Yin and I followed. When we arrived, Han began selecting food and placing it in a large basket. What about the gateway? I asked Han. He stopped and looked at me. There are many gateways. I mean, do you know where we can find the gateway to Shambhala? He looked at me sternly. You have only completed one extension of your prayer energy. You now must learn what to do with this energy that is flowing out of you. And you are very headstrong and still prone to fear and anger. You will have to overcome these tendencies before you can get anywhere near Shambhala. With that statement, Han nodded at Yin and handed him the basket, then walked into the other room. Okay, that's it from me. Okay, so take a minute to go through the exercises that are shared in this chapter. Take a moment to move, to wake up in the morning and feel the movement. Let's do it together. Okay, so that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care. Blessed be.